What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Lexi J Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Lexi Johnson. This is my husband and co-host, Brett Johnson. This week, we are going to give you 6 ways that you can change your life. So 6 very simple, but not necessarily easy things to implement that I think that we have adopted over time, not necessarily all at once. So if you feel like, dang, this is a complete lifestyle 180, start with one thing, and then add from there. So 6 things, and we're gonna go not necessarily in any order. Do you think that these are? I don't
think
really
they're like
think
sequential. I think that more than anything, it's just 6 solid rules of thumb.
Yeah, 6 rules to live your life. I like that. All right. Anyway, number 1, change your self-talk, or maybe just be aware of your self-talk first and foremost. I think that most people's default self-talk is negative. I don't feel like it's neutral, and it's certainly not positive. At least mine isn't. What about you?
Mine's definitely negative. Yeah, always has been. It's something that I fight a lot. I've gotten better at. It's interesting to me how people are just wired, right out the gate a little bit differently. I think that it's human nature to question oneself and to feed, negative thoughts to yourself. But it's interesting to me how, each individual is just so uniquely different, in that they can either naturally have a predisposition to doubting themselves or preaching negative thoughts to themselves, or vice versa. But for myself, yeah, it is something that I've struggled with over time, really struggled with it early on in my life, and I've gotten a lot better at it though as time has gone on.
More so of just like viewing yourself. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, viewing myself in a lot of different lights.
Yeah, I think that in terms of changing your self-talk, one of the biggest things for me is more so just my disposition. So it's not necessarily a reflection. I'm not meaning affirmations, not me standing in front of the mirror. If you want to do that, that's fine. But I think that putting your mind in a space where you're going to act better, you're going to make better decisions, you're going to view the world better. And I think that a very important lesson to learn is that your brain is constantly looking for validation in these thoughts. Thoughts breed like thoughts. Positivity breeds more positivity. Negativity breeds more negativity. So if you're constantly ruminating on these anxious, negative, overwhelming, stressful thoughts, then it's no surprise that every single thing throughout your day, you just pick up on the negative thing. And then you're well, when it rains, it pours. But conversely, if you start your day and you intentionally say, it's going to be a great day, it is going to be a great day. You may have no reason to actually believe that it's going to be a great day. It could be a very ordinary day. But if you start your day optimistic and with the belief that it just could be a very phenomenal day, then your brain is going to look for evidence to prove it correct, because your brain's constantly wanting to be persuaded to believe the thoughts you have. Definitely.
Yeah. It's innate for a person to seek out confirmation that what they think is the truth.
Yeah. It's comforting to know that your thoughts are validated. So your brain's going to look to your environment to prove it right.
Right. And that goes for everything.
Yeah. And I think I always use these things in terms of business or fitness, but I think that it could be true of relationships. If you think about, if your significant other does this one thing that drives you crazy and that's all you can think about, your entire disposition towards them is kind of tainted. Have you ever, have I ever done anything annoying? Scratch your brain. If I've done something annoying, or if I've said something snarky or mean, and then it's that one thing, and then the rest of the day, it's kind of tainted that, especially if you start it early on in the day. I believe if I'm snappy in the morning, it kind of affects the way that you view me the rest of the day. You're not wanting to engage as much. You're feeling just because it's tainted that disposition of me.
Yeah.
First impressions.
It definitely sets the tone for the other person.
Yeah. But we're talking about self-talk, so I was going on a little tangent. A little off-road in there. getting back on track.
Off-roading.
Buckle up. One thing that I do with self-talk, and I talk to my Lexi J Wellness girls about this all the time, aside from it's going to be a great day, say it's going to be a great day, because I am such a believer in that. It sounds crazy, and if you were a fly on my wall, you would hear how often I talk to myself, just like throughout the day, because it's a staff meeting of one at all times. But there are a lot of days when I don't want to get in front of the camera and I don't want to record a workout. I love working out, but it can be really draining to talk through a whole workout and to be motivating when I don't necessarily feel motivated myself. So Brett can attest to this, that many mornings recently we've been doing our morning routine. We're down here reading, drinking our coffee, and I will just like abruptly say, I am so excited to record. I cannot wait to record arms and back. I can't wait to record shoulders later. And he kind of giggles because he knows what I'm doing. He knows I'm tricking my own brain. I'm like intentionally putting it in my own brain. But it works. And it's crazy that I can convince and trick myself. Yes. It's silly. Brett and I recently we watched a stand-up on Amazon Prime.
What's his name?
It's an old Tom Segura.
No. It wasn't him. It was the other one.
No, that was him. It's not Nate Bargatze.
It wasn't? I thought that was him.
No,
it definitely was Nate Bargatze.
No, it wasn't.
He's my favorite.
Okay, but it was Tom Segura, and it was like from 2014. But anyway, he was like, you have a smart part of your brain and a dumb part of your brain. And it is wild how easily you can trick the dumb part of your brain, even though it's part of the planning. And he was like, have you ever heard someone that says, if you even fake a smile, naturally your brain like produces happy thoughts? That would be like a conjoined twin throwing a surprise birthday party for the other twin. But it's true. Like smiling naturally changes your mood, even a fake smile. So when I come down here and I'm like, I am so excited for this Zoom call. I am so excited for this meeting. I cannot wait to get on this call. It doesn't matter if I actually believe those things in the moment, but it is tricking my brain into believing that I actually do. And then I'm going into those things with a better disposition.
It works.
Kind of a fake it till you make it type deal.
Yeah. I mean, whether or not it seems hippy dippy or whether or not it seems like far-fetched, I mean, it is the truth. Try it. It feels goofy, especially like if you're sitting in your car by yourself and you're like, I feel like I should be in a better mood than I am right now. I'm focusing on all these negative things. I'm just preaching all these negative thoughts to myself. If you just kind of take a second, take a few deep breaths, kind of, if you feel goofy, like full on teeth smiling, just put on a big old grin. And it does, like, it's a very relieving, you just have this moment of relief. I've had to do that from time to time.
Yeah, when I'm about to have a hard conversation with someone, especially when I have to do like assessments or like pre-recorded messages and it's not going to be like something that I don't want to do, I always give myself a big smile and then I go into it because it affects. But backpacking off of the fake it till you make it. Number 2, act as if. Act as if you're already that healthy, wealthy, confident, strong, capable person in a happy relationship that has the dream job they've landed after you graduated summa cum laude. Mm-hmm. Act as if you're that person because, I've done this when I feel sick. I act as if I'm healthy because I think that if I act sick, I'm going to feel more sick and the sickness is going to hang around longer. But if your goal is to be this happy, confident person, but you're always acting as if you're not healthy, I should say healthy, confident person, but you're not acting healthy, if you're not doing things that a healthy person would do, how would you ever stumble upon yourself being healthy? It's true. Not going to be like you conjure them up. You build that person and you have to act it before you become it.
Right. So now we're graduating from the thinking, the positive thinking into the actions, the positive.
This may just very be a stair step or at least a 1-2 stepper.
And inadvertent, but it worked.
Yeah.
So these positive actions. So book I'm reading right now, and this is not unique to this book alone. I've read it in others, but it's discussing how young businesses, despite them being young and in the adolescent phase, it talks about how young businesses that in the future are going to be successful, who basically poise themselves for a lot of future success, they act as if they are a mature company. And that's a great way to approach life in general. It doesn't just apply to a business and creating a successful business. If you act like the thing that you want to be in the future, then you're setting yourself up for future success, because it may seem like it's jumping the gun, so to speak, or maybe you feel out of place acting like something that you're quote unquote, not, but that is how you are going to get yourself from point A to point B, the future you, or, the future business, the future whatever. You have to take those actions and teach yourself to be that thing.
Yeah. And I think it's just a simple practice is if you imagine this self that you want to become, whether it's you're talking like professional success, personal success, physical success, whatever. If you just imagine that version of you and then go about your day, and when you're faced with a decision, be like, what would that person do in this situation? What would the best version of me do? If someone were like puppeting your life and they had all altruistic intentions, what would that decision be made for you? Like we sabotage ourselves so often, but like if we're wanting to become the healthiest version of ourselves and we are going out to eat and you're looking at the menu and you're deliberating, what would the healthiest version of you order? What would the healthiest version of you like consume in terms of content? What does the healthiest version of you, what do their routines look like? Who do they hang around? So I think just imagine the healthy, or that version of you. I always put it in terms of health, but imagine that version of you and then just ask yourself, what would they do? WWYD. What would you do? What would
WWTSD?
What would that person do? Anyway,
that's Taylor Swift, by the way.
What would Taylor Swift do? Brett's a Swiftie. Okay, number 3. Identify your self-limitations. What is the shit that you tell yourself you can't do that you actually definitely can do? Do you say that you're too old? Do you say that you're too far behind? That you're too overweight? That you're lacking in education? That you're lacking in personal skills? You're lacking in whatever? What are the limitations that you're putting on yourself?
Right. This is what they call the glass ceiling.
Yes. I'm too busy. I don't have the resources. What are those limitations you're preaching to yourself? Because it's important to identify them. One, because those excuses always sound the best to ourselves. But 2, there are people, and I hate to be this way, like I hate to score keep it, because I do believe it's a you versus you race, this whole thing. But there are people that have that exact same set of limitations that are still doing the damn thing. And the coolest part about that is that they're going to do it and they're going to be able to say, I achieved despite this and this and this and this. And then it becomes a list of, that's a badge of honor. You had all of these things that could have stood in your way, but you still did it. You were starting from behind. You were starting older than everyone else. You were starting overweight. You were starting with less education or less certifications, whatever, less experience. And I still overcame. Otherwise, you're just listing this list of deficits. There's reasons that you're unaccomplished, that you haven't progressed.
Right.
There's nothing novel or special about that.
Right. And everybody has that list. How big or small that list is and how legitimate it is. Everybody has that list of things that they can, if they choose to, that they can preach to themselves throughout their life. And that ultimately is going to determine really if you do anything at all, with what you've been given.
Something really cool in practice. One of the women in Lexi J Wellness, she shared a picture of like a journal, and she had journaled out. She had listened to someone's podcast, and it was talking about like mental barriers and how you put these obstacles in front of you, and we often like cage ourselves in. So she wrote on one side of this paper all of these different limitations, and it was down to like, not having internet access when she was on vacation, that she was worried about tracking her food or something like that, down to I don't like mornings. I don't, whatever. I have to take 2 kids to daycare, or I can't remember the exact list, but she just listed out all of these limitations or all of these like hurdles. And then she put an arrow to the other side and she put a reason or a plan of action to overcome it. Like, it was really cool. And it rather than just like ignoring these excuses or leaning into them and just believing that they are fixed objects, she identified them and then she identified a problem or a solution. Because you can complain and complain about those problems and it's just on repeat playing through our head and it feels and sounds really good to us. But at the end of the day, if there's nothing done about those problems, then what do we do? We're doing that to sit in our own.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
I like that.
It kind of takes away its power.
Yeah.
Because you explain why it won't be an excuse for you and how you're going to overcome it.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, because everybody has that list, like I was saying. But yeah, if you just that's one of the most simple approaches that there is.
And
I've never actually heard of somebody doing that, but
and that mindset alone, I had comments that I was like, that just tells me everything I need to know. That tells me it's only a matter of time until you're successful and you get to where you want to go. But it's just because the way that you're approaching these, like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So
it's like creating your life game plan, really.
Yeah. So identify your self-limitations, your mental blocks. Number 4 is a 2-stepper. Learn.
Well, I love 2-stepping.
And apply. I shouldn't say everybody loves to learn. It's way easier to learn than it is to apply. And many of us just consume and consume and consume and consume. And we're like, I will start whenever I have every ounce of knowledge on this particular subject matter. And then I will start that business. And then I will do this. But the most practical lessons you could ever learn is through experience. So learn a little bit and then apply it and then test it out and have some experience and get that application under your belt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm a visual person. So reading in a book or, having somebody explain it to me, I think that goes for so many people. I mean, literally no businesses would exist at all if everybody just planned on knowing everything that they needed to know about that business before starting it. So that's not an excuse for anybody.
And there are just so many things that you will never encounter in a textbook or in an online course or a seminar or something that you will whenever you're actually practicing it. Because the human experience is always going to just throw in some variables there. And it's through living it. It's through experiencing and screwing up every now and then getting back up and figuring out a new way to do it that you're going to overcome. And then you're going to move forward with confidence, knowing that, okay, I lived to tell the tale. Now, the next time I face this obstacle, next time I face this barrier, I'm going to know what to do because I have that experience. But if you're constantly sitting at your desk and you're just over consuming all of this information, but you never do anything about it, there's nothing to show for that knowledge that you had.
Yeah. Yeah, going into it, assuming that if there's ever a failure along the way, then that's just an unhealthy mindset because you are going to fail.
One of the coolest things, and the Hermosis talk about this. So Layla and Alex Hermosi both preach like switching the mindset when it comes to sales. And they're like, people are scared of sales because they're scared of rejection. They're scared of being told no. But if you take the power out of being told no and you just implement that as part of the process, like a big part of sales is just being rejected. Like that is a inevitable part of that process. So they always say, like, in order to get a sale, just expect like you have to get 100 no's first. And if you go into it thinking like that is just the standard operating procedure, I have to be told no 100 times before I can, get to where I need to go, before I can get that sale, then it's like, oh, then the no is not a powerful thing. It's just part of the process. So you have to screw up a lot before you can succeed. You have to suck at something for a long time before you can be competent and then be good at it. And if you take the power out of that failure and you take the power out of the struggle and just understand that it's not good, not bad. It's just part of the process. Like it's neutral.
Yeah. And you can extrapolate from that and apply it to anything because not every job is sales. No is not the same as doing a bad job. Failure and just receiving the simple no in sales, those are not necessarily exact parallels. But for the average person who doesn't work in sales, that is just simply scared of doing something wrong, and then, having the repercussions of it, or having to change course or figure out a solution, like, that is literally just life.
Yeah, and failure is feedback.
Right.
Like if you fail, then that gives you a very good.
You found a way that doesn't work.
That's like
that's
isn't that been Thomas Edison quote?
Yeah.
Where
I
he's
just
like,
found 1,000 ways or whatever that a light bulb doesn't work.
I didn't fail. I just found 1,000 ways that it hasn't worked.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds so cliche, but really that's what it comes down to, is just figuring out what does work. And even if you find ways that do work, you'll find ways that work better. And it's just this constant evolution, and you can't be scared to just jump in just simply because you know that you're not going to be the best at it from the beginning. Like, did you start Lexi Wellness thinking that my workouts are going to be the best, most groundbreaking workouts on the market? No, obviously not. Like, even from then to now, they've gotten so much better. And from now to next year and the year after that, they'll continue to get better and better. So it's not, you don't have this expectation that I'm doing this better than anybody else in the world right now. The goal is that you're going to progressively get better over time, knowing full well that you are going to mess up. You are going to figure out the pitfalls of, your own self. And you just can't let that negative self-talk get to you and tell you, well, I'm just not meant for this because I messed up, or because I'm not here and this person's here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to modify, add an addendum to this one, and it's going to be learn and apply and learn, because you learn so much more through the application. Number 5, surround yourself with people that match your desired mindset. The best way to adopt a desired behavior is to join a culture where that behavior is considered normal.
This sounds like something we may have discussed once or twice before.
Perhaps. But the people that you are surrounding, if you are around 5 smokers, you will be the 6th. If you are around 5 healthy people, you will be the 6th. It really matters. The temperature in the rooms that you constantly put yourself in are going to infect you. So just be very wise, or be very mindful of those that you are surrounding yourself with, that you're spending a lot of time with, and just kind of, taking an inventory. Are those the type of people that you want to become? And if they're not, you need to get in other rooms. And sometimes that's really hard, because those are the people that you've always been around. But it's okay to identify that the people that you've always been around, even if you love them so much, if they don't want the same things as you, if they don't live the same life that you want to live, then it's okay. You can grow in different directions and you can still love them. But like, you need to be mindful about spending time with people that are, have that same mindset, that have that ambition.
Yeah. And that's hard. Like, that is one of the hardest things, I think, for somebody to grasp, because everything, humans are emotional beings.
We're also pack animals, like tribe mentality. You want to be on the end.
We're such emotional human beings. It's not just our emotions that we're also dealing with. It's also somebody else's emotions that we're dealing with. And that is a very volatile thing whenever you're triggering 2 people's emotions like that, and you each want different outcomes. And it may be a group of friends. It may just be one individual friend that you recognize that there is a disparity between what you want in life. And it doesn't mean that you have to like ice that person out and say, like, screw you, I don't want you in my life anymore. It's recognizing that there's a difference in where you guys are headed, and being able to identify that maturely. And doesn't mean that there has to be a formal conversation. Do you think so? I mean, I don't think that I think a lot of people think that, well, there's going to be this conversation where I have to tell them that I don't want to be with them, or, be hanging around them anymore.
I don't know. I am I'm very much a low maintenance friend, so it wouldn't be something where I would be like, we're meeting on Tuesday at 4 p.m. and we're breaking this friendship up. This is the official ending to it. No, I don't think it needs to be a formal notice or
Right.
a notary signed.
And it doesn't mean that you have to go unfollow them on every social media platform.
Yeah.
It's just, it's wanting two different things in life. And it's just a natural separation.
And it's not that you like don't ever see them. You can't ever hang out with them. But don't spend the bulk of your time with them if you don't want the same things as them. If they live a life that you don't desire, then I hate to be blunt, but spending time with them is going to lead you towards something more in their life, their realm.
Yeah. And if they are a good friend, they will be able to recognize that.
Yeah, that probably won't happen.
It's hard.
It is hard, especially if I say that probably won't happen, because if you are moving on from someone because you don't have that same mentality, I say that probably won't happen because chances are good that they're not evolved or mature enough to recognize that you just want better for yourself, because it also points the finger back at them that they are living a life that you do not want.
Yeah,
and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, puts a person in a very vulnerable state.
Yeah, that's ouch. All right, number 6. And it's very simple, but simple does not mean easy around here. Create and solidify the habits that align with your goals. So, very simple habits that will serve you, and they will continue to serve you, whether they're exciting or novel or new. Habits are not novel and new. They are solidified and they're established, so they're deepened into your routine. So, it is a matter of just mastering the really boring stuff, because it's no longer going to be exciting. It's no longer going to be every time you go to the gym as a PR, every time you hang out with that boyfriend of yours is going to be you're finding something new about them, But solidifying and establishing those habits that are going to serve you well, it's compound interest like anything else.
Yeah.
Just a continual investment into yourself.
Yeah. Habits are like a muscle that you build over time. And if you don't put in the painstaking effort of continually putting in the work to build that muscle up, then slowly over time, if you stop doing it, it's going to atrophy. You're going to lose what you had previously gained. And then before no time at all, you have nothing left. Your muscles atrophied and you've shrunk back to nothing again.
Yeah, it's a use it or lose it type of deal. So habits are repetitive. They take time. They take consistency. And in anything, it's going to take a lot of work, because things that are rewarding and satisfying in life do not come passively. You have to actively and intentionally work towards them. So it's a matter of just identifying what do you want most rather than what do you want in this moment. This fickle feeling of discomfort or where you want immediate gratification. Is it worth it to you to compromise your standards and your goals when you know that, falling back on those habits are really what's going to serve you the best in the long run? And it's just having the gritty discipline to push through.
Which, again, another very difficult thing.
Yeah.
Just establishing habits, brand new habits especially. But there's nothing like consistency.
Yeah, I am such a creature of habit. And honestly, habits make your life much less anxious, because an anxious mind is one that has a lot of unpredictability. But if you have a very solidified routine throughout your day and you have a lot of established habits, there is less variability. There's less unpredictability in your life. So your mind is a little bit more at ease, which I've learned and benefited from.
Yeah. You and I both have a personality type that craves habits. You and I both have, I don't necessarily love this about myself, but you and I are not the spontaneous type necessarily. Our personality types thrive whenever we're in routine, and we have our daily regimen that we're used to. And while it's nice to get out of your routine and get some fresh air, see new things, it definitely plays into our personality types nicely, that we live the lifestyle that we do. And I would say that that goes for a large percentage of people. If they figured out, whether or not you realize it, you do have habits. It's just, are they positive habits? Are they pushing you forward? Are they progressing you to something better in life, or are they keeping you exactly where you're at, or even regressing? And that's where I think a majority of people are at, sadly, is they don't even realize really what their daily actions equate to. Like, what is the sum of your daily actions? In 10 years, are your daily actions all added up? Are they going to have you in a better place, or are you going to be in the exact same place, or are you going to be worse? And my goal is always, as is yours, to be in a much better place in 10 years. And we have this, again, this plays into what we were talking about before. It's acting.
I was going to say, you can kind of just go back into the acting as if. Like, if you made a list of all of your habits, like if you made a list of everything that you just do consistently from day to day, positive, negative, brushing your teeth, put it on the list. Going for a walk, put it on the list. Going through Starbucks, put it on the list. If you just make a list of all your habits, and then in the next column, put a plus or a minus. Like, is this moving me in the direction of that person that I want to become, or is it moving me further away? If the best version of me is financially secure and she's saved a bunch of money, is me going and spending $9 on a coffee every morning, is that the best version of me? Is that promoting the best version of me or not? Is that getting me a little bit closer or a little bit further away? And just do like a little plus minus column. Just test it out. You don't have to share it, but it is eye-opening sometimes. And like I said, just really analyze everything you do. It's not like the big sexy habits. Like I said, brushing your teeth. If brushing your teeth is a habit, I would say that is pushing me towards being the best version of myself. If you're not brushing your teeth daily, please put a big fat negative and then let's address it. But yeah, solidify and establish habits that are going to promote your goals, that align with the person that you want to become.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely simplifying things a lot, but life is kind of one big mathematic equation. How many, do you have more in the positives column than you do in the negatives column? Really, I mean, that tells you pretty quickly if you're headed in the direction that you would want to be headed in. If you were the puppet master watching down and able to see the trajectory of a person's life, you could pencil those things out pretty quick with a simple mathematical equation of pluses and minuses.
Well, that's it. That's our 6 rules for life. If you guys got any value out of it, we would love for you to share the show. If you have any recommendations or questions, we haven't done a Q&A in a while. You can send those questions to our email
at pod@lexijoelness.com.
Yeah, but in the meantime, we hope you guys have a great week. If you haven't reviewed the show on Spotify or Apple Music, we would love for you to do that as well. It means a lot to us. But I hope you guys have a good week. I'll talk to you later.